3,000 in here by the time we get to kick off in just over half an hour's time. It's been raining here until lunchtime. It started again about an hour ago. It is very threatening, very similar for quite a lot of you back home, I believe. Australia against England. The 2003 Rugby World Cup final is almost upon us. It's an epic occasion, a time for heroes.
Happy the man, and happy he alone, he who can call today his own. He who, secure within, can say, tomorrow, do thy worst, for I have lived today. Be fair, or foul, or rain, or shine, the joys I have possessed, in spite of fate, are mine. Not heaven itself upon the past has power, but what has been, and I have had my hour.
Words by John Dryden, delivered by actor Stephen Burkoff. But the real drama still to come here in Sydney. Hello there, good morning. Wherever you're watching, consider yourself part of a national event. England in a major final for the first time in some 12 years. And if Martin Johnson is the happy man to lift the World Cup at the end of it, well, unless you're old enough to remember those boys back in '66, it's going to be a wonderful new experience. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, though. Australia don't often come second. There's nothing the Aussies would like more than to put away us Poms in front of a worldwide audience as well. Great support for England here. We reckon there'll be about 40,000 in the stadium. It'll be a case of swing low meeting Waltzing Matilda. And England are here. They arrived just over an hour ago. They have lost the toss, though. They're heading for the away dressing room. The pack absolutely magnificent in that semi-final against France. Remember, they have won the last 4 against Australia. England trying to become the first European side to lift the William Webb Ellis Trophy, the Rugby World Cup. Vice-captain Johnny Wilkinson, 98 World Cup points so far. Alongside me today, Will Carling, who led England the last time they were in a World Cup final. Michael Lynagh, he was in the victorious Australian team the very same day. And Francois Pienaar, another World Cup winner, presented with a trophy by President Nelson Mandela. Will, wet, good for England.
Yeah, it's just awesome here. I'm like a little kid, even more so than usual. But yeah, I think it is good for England. I think England would like to think they could play in the dry, but the wet will suit them because they have the bigger pack, the more powerful, experienced pack, and I think they have the best kicker in the world. So for them, it'll probably make them smile. But Michael, you are the men in possession. That World Cup is going to take some wrenching away from the Aussies.
Well, I certainly hope so, Jim, and there's a lot of Australians who have got behind this team in a way that I haven't seen before, that are hoping the same thing. And traditionally, Australia have made it very hard for visiting teams here, and I don't think tonight will be any different.
Francois, you believe little things decide World Cup finals?
Definitely, and the pressure is just tremendous on those players sitting in the changing room. They would be going through the first kick, the first tackle. They had a whole day to think about that. And I'm sitting here, I'm not even involved, and I'm nervous about it. The small things are going to make the big differences today and decide who's going to be the champion. Okay, thank you all. Well, the RFU have invested a huge amount of faith and finance in Clive Woodward's vision, and today has to be payback time. The England coach has delivered his dream final. There's one more dividend to come, hopefully the trophy itself. He's talking right here at the Telstra Stadium to our reporter, Chris Morn.
Clive, it's been described as a day which could change people's lives. Just ahead of the kick-off, what's your view?
I'm not sure it's going to change people's lives. It's obviously a big game, but it's I think the whole of English rugby's worked very, very hard for tonight or this morning back in England. The RFU's been brilliant. All the Zurich Premiership clubs have been brilliant, and we're where we are. We're not here by luck. We've worked very, very hard over 4 years, and You know, tonight's very, very important, but no more than that. You know, it'll come and go, and we'll look forward to hopefully carrying on the success of English rugby. And it's on a big high at the moment. We want to keep it going, and clearly we want to win tonight very, very badly.
And from your little observation box, will yourself and Phil and Andy be able to remain cool, calm and collected enough to react to whatever Australia throw at you?
Of course we will. I would have to say I don't like it in the Goldfish Bowl. You know, we're not allowed on the pitch side, and but we'll have to sort that out when we meet with the World Cup people in January. But no, we go into the Goldfish Bowl all saying that stay calm, and it usually lasts about a minute so far. But no, we've got to do our jobs properly. You know, we've got to make sure we're reading the game properly, make the right calls, and win the game and go home.
We wish you well.
Thank you very much indeed. Have an enjoyable day, everybody. Cheers.
It'll be even more enjoyable if that World Cup does come home, of course. Clive Woodward very relaxed there. Well, before the two teams come out, there's going to be some pre-match entertainment, doubling as a simple closing ceremony. We've got our own pre-match entertainer coming up for you now, David Campese. He likes to think his taunts were a decisive factor in the Wallabies' victory over England at Twickenham 12 years ago, and this is Campo's last chance to spin a bit of Aussie propaganda Martin Johnson's way. Here he is with Gabby Logan.
Campo, this week the Australian press have taken their insults to new levels. Fantastic stuff. You must have something for us tonight.
Go England. How's that?
Surprising to say the least. The Australian psyche seems to have a great fear of losing. Would you agree with that?
It's been in our nature, I think, Gabby, for many, many years. The Olympics were here, the World Cup in '91. When you get to this level, this is the most important part of someone's life. And you don't want to remember in 20 years, I could have done that, I could have done this. And that's why Australia, this week, they've been right behind the Wallabies. There's been a lot of slur in the papers, and sometimes it is a bit unnecessary. I haven't said much, because I think with the rain tonight, and really the two sides are very, very close. And I really think the Andre Watson factor is very, very important in this game.
Now, a little story in the English press. If England win here tonight, we hear you may well, for charity, walk down Oxford Street with a placard reading, "The best team in the world won the World Cup," or you could be Will Carling's surf for a day.
Well, is that Will's idea, is it? Look, I mean, if that happens, I'm quite happy to do that. I've always said I don't mind being proven wrong, and if the English want to win tonight, I'll do whatever it has to do for charity, because I think, at the end of the day, rugby's a great game. We're both called experts, but sometimes we're not always right, and I'll admit sometimes I am wrong.
I know that really he thinks Australia by 15 points, Jim.
And he's admitted sometimes he's wrong. You fancy him as a butler for a day?
I don't know if he'd be up to it, you know. I mean, he'd have to work hard, and I'd have him on his knees.
I prefer to see him with a placard walking down Oxford Street, to be fair. Well, he has had his say here. We're going to get more opinions from our boys here in just a moment. But first, the thoughts of some key men involved in the final.
We've already heard about, you know, boring England, penalties, drop goals, all this. The only thing that matters at this level is winning. You know, the only team that really, you know, goes down in history is a team that wins, and we'll be going out to try and win. That's what we try and do in every game.
I can't imagine myself looking back, whether it's Sunday, Monday, a year's time, 10 years' time. I can't imagine myself looking back on the day and being in any way satisfied with anything other than a win.
You've got to enjoy the week. You know, it's an unusual week for us, host country final. It's a terrific week, so we're going to enjoy it, and you know, we'll play the game. We won't die wondering how good we are.
If you're thinking every time you touch the ball it's a World Cup final, then you're probably going to have a problem. So when the whistle goes, it's a game of rugby, and you'll be reacting and trying to control things as you normally do, and really not focusing too much about what happens at the end. It's about what's happening, you know, right in front of you.
We'll have our plans. We'll go in there believing we can win the match. It's going to take a big effort. It's going to take a better performance than what we put on in the semi-final.
There's massive excitement about what we're involved in. There's been excitement at every level. We're just making sure we try and get the balance right between being excited about it and also being excited about getting the preparation right.
We can beat anyone on our day, as we've proved. So can Australia, so can New Zealand, and so can France, but you know, they haven't got the chance now, and we have.
Few sounds of Waltzing Matilda coming up behind us. Right on cue for you, Michael, and right on cue for you to take us through the Australian 15, could you?
Yes, Eddie Jones is 15. He's had it the same 15 bar one for the whole week, and the only change occurs in the front row with Al Baxter coming in for the injured Ben Darwin. But this is where it all starts. I mean, this is where England will start to attack the Australian front row and really set down the basis. So this Australian front row has to front up, particularly Brendan Cannon. Justin Harris and Nathan Sharp played very well last week, and they'll be looking to disturb the English line out maybe cause Steve Thompson some problems. George Smith-Fillmore will be at Johnny Wilkinson all day and trying to scrap some ball on the ground, and particularly in these weather. David Lyons will be charging into the midfield trying to create havoc. George Griggan, he's been here before, he knows what it's like, and he's a captain that's got to lead from the front, as has Steve Larkham. Watch out for a few of his little kicks in behind tonight. Elton Flatley, best goal-kicking record in this championship, and he'll be trying to help along Sterling Mortlock, who had player of the game last weekend. The Rugby League boys at the back, these conditions actually might suit them, where they're used to carting the ball up close to the action and retaining possession. Matt Rogers had to clear his lines very well tonight.
You've got a few points you want to make about the two fly halves.
Yeah, the fly halves are always very, very important in any match, and in Johnny Wilkinson, England have the best goal kicker, the best field goal kicker, and the best tactical kicker, so definitely advantage there. Larkham's not known as a goal kicker, he's more known as a gliding runner and distributor, but watch out for him tonight. He's quite adept at putting little grubbers, little chip kicks in behind, and I think he might do that mainly behind Cohen.
And you reckon Steve Thompson might be a problem for England in the line-outs?
Yeah, I think that's an area where if Australia can get on and disturb early, particularly Harrison, who won a line-out, crucial line-out against the line, if he can get on early and create some distractions and disruptions in the line-out, Thompson has been known to have some trouble, particularly under pressure.
A lot of emotion flying around the stadium, and Australia playing a big emotional card. Ben Darwin, who was carried off injured, and he's here, and he's been handing out the jerseys, you've been saying to me.
Yes, Ben Darwin this morning, who's made a remarkable recovery, and everybody's happy to see him up and around. Presented the jerseys to the Australians this morning, and he's going to be, I mean, that would have been an emotional charge, and he's sitting here with the reserves on the bench. A big advantage for Australia, that is, in the preparation and build-up.
Over to a World Cup winning captain with points to make about the two skippers, about Martin Johnson and George Griggan.
Captaincy today is crucial. They've got to make the right decisions at the right time. Yes, they've got a tactic to go out there, but there's certain plays that they need to call. When do they call it? Do they make the right call? And it's very, very, very important. We've got two great captains here. George Griggan has come under a lot of criticism this World Cup, but he's come through that in flying colours. He's played some tremendous rugby in the semi-finals, but early on, it doesn't look like he was interested. He also makes his feelings known. Wendell Saylor, misses a tackle, and if we look at George Griggan, he gives him a piece of his mind. He says to him, mate, you missed that tackle. He's very, very, very in your face. He plays with his heart on his sleeve. Has the guy got skill? He's got this in abundance. I mean, he's just, they say, he's the ultimate rugby player trapped in a scrum half's body. Then we get Martin Johnson, to me, the best captain in the world. Gives away a penalty here against France, and he said it at post-match. He's honest with himself. He said, listen, I gave away a penalty, and in a final, if you give away a penalty, you will lose games. But he's learned from that. He's in your face. You can see there. The guy is terribly disappointed, knows, if I make this mistake, I'm gone. Yeah, the French had a driving ball. You look at Martin Johnson, he's got Harry Nordick's leg up. He's fighting for it. It looks like the referee's saying, hey, get onside. He asks him, ref, can I play? And he does play, and he stopped that driving ball. We'll know in the next 80 minutes if he is really the best captain in the world, because 80 minutes will separate the two teams.
And take us through the team that Martin Johnson will be leading out here very shortly, Will.
Well, has a similar look, very strong team, and obviously the forwards, as Michael said, where it'll all start. Woodman, Thompson, Vickery. I think Woodman will really be having a go for Baxter. The props tell me that he might have an advantage there. Thompson has got to get his line out throwing in. To fire these two, Ben Kay, Martin Johnson. Kay, the line-out specialist. Johnson, as Francois said, best captain in the world. Both great at the line-out. Richard Hill, kneel back, trying to negate Smith and Wall, and actually fight for the loose ball. And do the work to let Lawrence carry the ball. That's what he is brilliant at. He'll want to get England over the gain line. Matt Dawson will be trying to bring it all together, look after Johnny Wilkinson, get his service right. Johnny Wilkinson, the best kicker, great defensive as well, but he's so crucial to England. Tyndall, the Rock, brought in to look after Sterling Mortlock. Will Greenwood will be ushering that defence as well, marshalling it. And the back three, Cohen, Robinson, I think they'll be chasing a lot of kicks today and hopefully fielding a few as well and doing that well. And Lucy will be wrapping it all up, tidying it all up at the back. And I think, more than anything, looking after Robinson, who I think the Australians will put quite a few kicks on.
Good. OK, Will Carling, thank you very much indeed. So the atmosphere is really building here. Just over 15 minutes to go to the kick-off of the Rugby World Cup final. What a fantastic sight. The Telstra Stadium just outside of Sydney, and we'll be back very shortly.
The world's biggest sporting event this year is coming soon on Setanta Sport. See all 48 games live at a Setanta venue near you.
Oh, Danny.
And you're back with us at the Telstra Stadium. The brief closing ceremony is underway. Kate Sobrano, Australian singer-songwriter, in full flow with True Colours.
This world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear. You call me up now 'cause you know I'll be there. And I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are shining through. I see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful. Like a
And the rain continuing to fall in Sydney. That is great news for England. Looking at the pitch, it just might cut up a little bit as well. Next on the menu here, World in Union, the Rugby World Cup anthem, the Rugby World Choir, one singer from each of the competing 20 nations. And kids from the Sydney Children's Choir as well. Most fans will be happy. Martin Johnson has won the toss. England will kick off. Will Carling, how does this compare to your final in '91?
I think it's incredibly different. It's quite a nice setting for a start, but I mean, I think you look at England's record, they haven't lost to a Southern Hemisphere side since June 2000. And they've played against them regularly, they've beaten them regularly. They came down here, first England team to win in Australia, and I think the psychological aspect of that is huge. We hardly ever played against the Southern Hemisphere, and I think there's still an aura around them. I think this side, they've come here, they've been intent on winning. They're not happy to be in the final, they want to win it. And I think, you know, that will stand them in good stead. They seem incredibly focused to me.
Michael Liner?
Well, you know, it's been a wonderful tournament and wonderful finale here, and I just, the conditions are advantaging England for me. I mean, England should take advantage of these conditions, but the pressure on England is enormous, and I just feel with Australia, they seem to be relaxed, they seem to be smart. They outplayed New Zealand last week, they've had a good build-up, they've got a few players that have been to World Cups before, particularly their captain, George Gregan, so I just think they might deal with the pressure a little bit better than England.
Francois Pienaar, finally, you've gone for England all along. You were hedging your bets a bit on the bus coming to the stadium.
No, I'm just trying to take some cash off Will, but I'm definitely going for England. I just want to tell the viewers back home that the pressure is just unbelievable here. I'm not English, I'm not Australian.
We noticed that over
but I'm sitting here and I'm bricking.
You've been rejected by both.
I'm sitting here and I'm bricking myself. It's just unbelievable. This is just the best showcase I've seen and the best Rugby World Cup by far.
And was it in there somewhere? Is it England or Australia?
Still hasn't answered.
Did I miss it?
You missed it. It's England. It's got to be England.
Good. Okay. Well, let us hope so. Certainly. Just if you're wondering really what is going on down there, this is a terrific English crowd. 50,000 or so in Sydney, and we reckon there's 40,000 crammed inside the stadium. You're going to get the best seat in the house when the game gets underway. I would just wonder what Martin Johnson might be saying to his team. Well, before England beat Australia in Melbourne just 5 months ago, his last words were, be confident, be relentless, be ruthless, let's get on with it. You're in very safe hands for the World Cup final on ITV. Your commentators, former England scrum half Steve Smith and British Lion John Taylor.
Well, 47 games gone, 1 to go, and it's the biggest game ever for every single player involved. For the Wallabies, even those who've already got a World Cup winners medal, the chance to win in front of an adoring home crowd, surely the greatest feeling for any sportsman. And for England, a stupendous challenge, the chance to achieve greatness more than 10,000 miles away from home in a country with probably more sporting pride than any other in the world. But as Jim was saying, the English players certainly won't feel alone. It's a world record crowd for a Rugby World Cup, 83,000 spectators here at the Telstra Stadium, and somehow, by hook or by crook, something like 40,000 Englishmen have acquired tickets. Just looking around the stadium, it takes me back to the Lions tour a couple of years ago. John O'Neill, the Australian chief executive, was quite shocked by the number of Lions jerseys up in Brisbane and gave out thousands and thousands of gold scarves and hats. Steve Smith, it's a bit like that here. You look around and you see that there are great swathes of white shirts, most of them in the poorer seat, so he's trying to get his golden shirts into the middle.
Yeah, surprise, surprise, anything for an advantage. But you know, John, people say the English are not a patriotic nation. We certainly are, and you can see it on the nightlight tonight. Loads of English support. If you'd have walked through the streets of Sydney and saw the bars and clubs singing, you will see we are very patriotic indeed.
We certainly can't miss it. It has been an absolutely fabulous week as it's built up here. People unable to get flights were apparently going to Auckland because that was the only place you could get a flight into Sydney from. Big Martin Johnson and little Georgie Gregan, the two captains. Rogers, Big David Lyons, the number 8. Well, Australia have not surprisingly kept the same back division but they've been forced to bring in Prop Al Baxter, who'd won just one cap before this World Cup for the injured Ben Darwin. Justin Harrison again gets the vote at number 4, and skipper George Gregan, the world's most capped scrum half, wins his 95th cap. Final confirmation of England's starting 15. The only change from the semi-final is that Mike Tindall regains his place in the centre at the expense of Mike Catt. Trevor Woodman winning his 15th cap as England's least experienced player. Martin Johnson, captaining his country for the 40th time, is the most experienced. He's winning his 84th cap. And the now familiar coming together for the anthems. You can see how rough the weather is from the fact that the replacements are all well track-suited. It's only just raining at the moment, but we have had an awful lot. The Australians now just really bunching, really huddling, getting inspiration for this final. Formalities, it's game on when we return. Welcome back. There's the referee, Andre Watson from South Africa. His 26th international, and a terrific honour for him because it's his second consecutive Rugby World Cup final. Professional referee these days, made his debut with the Australia-Canada match in 1996. He's got Paddy O'Brien and Paul Honnis from New Zealand on the lines, and Jonathan Kaplan from South Africa is the television match official. There's the whistle, we're underway. The World Cup final, 2003. Nathan Sharp drags it in. Australia electing to play left to right as we look. Oh, and you can see the skiddy surface. Robinson needing all his fleet of foot there to get himself out of trouble. Did it well, though. Flips wide from Delalio, but nobody to take advantage, and England forced to just hack the ball into touch.
Yes, unfortunately, the pass was on. The bad news was it was a prop on the wing. He didn't want to be there, and he came inside, so it went astray. First mistake from England.
Australia choosing to play left to right because England chose to take the kickoff. So we'll see whether they hope to take advantage of the wind or want to play against it first when we really sort it out. Larker puts it wide of Mortlock, tries to get away, but well taken by Greenwood. Gregan Smith gets past the first man. Tyndall couldn't hold him, but stops him enough for the others to get to him. Larkham again, pushing it wide. This terrific, intense attack, ball in hand from the Wallabies, just as we saw against the All Blacks last week. Larkham putting it wide, Rogers finding a gap, but he couldn't find Lottie Takiri with the pass.
And good job he didn't. Takiri had half an overlap, as we saw against New Zealand. That's all he needs. It's a wonderful start from Australia. They're spinning wide, even though it's a bit greasy. That's the last pass going astray. Rogers is livid with himself.
I think that was almost predictable that the first scrum would go down. Now Andre Watson won't take much messing there. That's better. England feed. Australia trying to put the pressure on. Delalio takes it up. Now England have got ball they should be able to clear. And Wilkinson just puts it onto that left foot and finds a good touch, almost on halfway.
And what a fiery start there's Clive Woodward. He's seen Australia take it to England in the first 2 or 3 minutes.
Brendan Cannon, the Australian hooker. Sharp off the top to Harrison.